Before we get into this video, I do want to warn you all first that this video does contain some strong language and some controversial themes. While it is all for the purposes of translation education, parental guidance is highly advised for all those this applies to. Hey guys, it's Generalkidd here. How is everyone doing today? So, as we all know, in Halo MCC, you are now able to switch languages to whatever language you want. That MCC actually supports. But as far as like Halo and other languages go, we kind of take that for granted. We kind of assume that the translations are 100% correct, one for one. That, you know, what we see in the subtitles is, or what we heard in the English version is exactly what it is in other languages, more or less. But that is actually far from the truth. In fact, some languages in particular, the one we'll be tackling today is Chinese specifically. Other languages, they might have some crazy or pretty controversial translations actually of the game, and we're going to be taking a look at that in Chinese today. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So here are 10 things that are crazy or controversial and that are spoken in the Chinese dub. So the first one is when Cortana is arguing with Guilty Spark. I'm gonna let you guys listen to it, and then I'll come back and tell you exactly what they're saying. So here we go.
哦，我怎么看不出来？他是你的伙伴，是吗？你的好朋友？你知道这个杂碎差点让你做了什么吗？
知道，启动 Hello 的防卫，摧毁虫族。
Okay, so what Cortana said there is more or less pretty close to what you see in the subtitles, but more specifically, when she refers to Guilty Spark as a bastard, the term she uses is a very negative version of that word. Like Chinese, there is a Chinese word for bastard, but the version she uses is one that is very, very bad, and it really has no like English equivalent to it, but a loose translation would be bastard would be pretty close to that. So it is technically correct, but she uses a very bad version of it. And if you were to, like, from what I've been told, if you were to say that to like people in public, yeah, it's not a good thing. Let's put it that way. Okay, so this next one is also in the same cutscene. It's also when Cortana's arguing with Guilty Spark. So I'll let you guys listen to that now as well.
这就是我们把索引器带来控制中心的理由。
就是这个。
这个组件在核心里面，简直不能相信。
去你的！
真够粗鲁。
Alright, this next translation is very simple and blunt. When Cortana tells Guilty Spark to sod off, in Chinese, translated back to English, she literally tells Guilty Spark to fuck off. Yeah, plain and simple as that. Needless to say, you know, Halo is rated M, but the Chinese dub really gives it that M rating for language especially. But anyways, let's move on. Alright, so this next one happens when Gravemind is talking to Master Chief, actually describing Master Chief out loud. So here goes.
这家伙是个杀人机器，有但是也很聪明。
Okay, so this translation is not exactly controversial or anything or bad, but it's just interesting, especially if you watched my video from 2 days ago about whether Master Chief was originally meant to be a robot or a cyborg before Halo 1 came out. But anyways, what the translation is, when Gravemind is describing Master Chief, in English he says this one is machine and nerve and has its mind concluded. In the Chinese dub, it literally translates to this one is a killing machine, but is the clever one. So I just find it very interesting that in the Chinese dub, the Gravemind would describe Master Chief as a killing machine, which is very true. And, you know, for all the classic Master Chief fans, to them, Master Chief is a killing machine, and rightfully so. But, of course, fans of the newer Halo series kind of prefer Master Chief as more of a human-like character, and not so much as like a walking killing machine feared by everybody. But yeah, so that's why I found that translation to be interesting. Anyways, moving right along. This next one is also in the same cutscene. This is when Gravemind switches to Arbiter and starts describing Arbiter out loud.
这个是血肉之躯，比较老实，但容易被骗。
要杀就杀，
不然就放了我，我没时间听你废话。有很多话说，透过天地。
Okay, so this one is kind of a little funny, but what Arbiter literally says in response to Gravemind is saying, if you want to kill me, then kill me. Otherwise, let me go. But I don't have time to listen to your bullshit. Which is, it's kind of a odd thing that Arbiter would say, like, to Gravemind's face, like, in that kind of situation. And obviously it's a lot more, controversial, and stronger language compared to, when Arbiter in English says, but do not waste my time with talk. So, yeah, it's kind of a funny way to translate it, I guess, and strong way to translate it, so to speak. Alright, so this next one is also on Halo 2. This happens sometimes when a Marine blows up another enemy or kills another enemy. So what that Marine literally says there is, loosely translated, it's basically the Marine saying, like, haha, I'm not afraid of your shit. Or more loosely and more kind of like literally translated, it's kind of like the Marine saying, like, haha, I just took a shit on you. And I am using the exact words translated. It's not just my slang or anything, but that is how it is translated. I did run that by a few people who helped me translate this, but it's little, it's kind of slangish in Chinese, so it's not something that's like has like a literal translation, like a very direct translation, but loosely that's what it translates to. This next one is also from a Marine, and it happens when you're a bad driver as Master Chief and a Marine criticizes you.
在哪里学开车的？墨西哥哟。
Alright, this one can be a little controversial. What the Marine just said there when Master Chief was a bad driver is, he says, where'd you learn to drive? Mexico? Now, you know, that's, it raises eyebrows, to say the least. It's not, like, outright racist or anything, but it's, you know, it does catch your attention, especially if it was, like, spoken in English instead. It would definitely raise some eyebrows, but that is what it translates to. I think it's some kind of, like joke in the culture. I'm not sure, but that's what it translates to literally. But I'm not exactly sure if it's some kind of slang or some kind of like common joke that goes around. Now this next one is a classic. I've done a video on this before, but it was definitely worth throwing in here, and this is what the brutes sound like in Chinese. Alright, so quite simply put, in the Chinese dub, most other languages, when they translate all the narration and dialogue, a lot of them don't touch the sound effects that like enemies make, the Covenant make, or if they do change the sound effects, they at least keep it true to the original. But for some reason, in the Chinese dub, they went like way out with the sound effects, especially for the brutes. To the point where the brute sounds like a cross between a gorilla and a Wookie, and we get a really hilarious result there. But they fixed that in later Halo games. That's only exclusive to Halo 2, where the brute is like really like that out of whack. Alright, now for this one, this occurs during the Prepare to Drop cutscene, the intro cutscene to ODST, right at the very beginning.
海军打了漂亮的一仗。废话，因为那是地球。
有总比没有好。
放尊重点好吗？
我一直说 Dutch 他们漏了一个。
那是他们故意留给我们的。
So this next one, the context is a little odd, but basically what happens is Mickey makes a sarcastic comment about the UNSC putting up a good fight against the Covenant, and in that sarcastic tone, that's when Dutch angrily responds and says, "Bullshit. Of course they did," which at first I wasn't quite sure the context. It was a little odd, but yeah, he's just calling like bullshit on Mickey's sarcasm, I guess. But yeah, so moving on to the next one on the same cutscene. This one occurs shortly after, when Dare first walks in the room and Romeo first meets her.
你们知道该怎么做，上工了。
哇哦，水果牛哦！
去座舱，快！
没错，
倒数第2个位子，我的旁边。
姓胡哦。士官，可以介绍介绍吗？
海军。
So what happens here is when when Dare first walks in, what Romeo says about her in English, he says "Hello, beautiful," but in the Chinese translation, this is very much a strong slang word that's only from like certain regions in Chinese-speaking countries. So it was pretty hard to get that translated because only people who know that slang understood it. But loosely translated, it basically translates to like, "Wow, we got a sexy princess babe here," or like, "We got a sexy lady here," something like that, along those lines. And depending on who you ask, some say it's more of a compliment, but others say if you say it to somebody, you'll get slapped pretty instantly. So just play it safe and don't say it out loud. But that is an odd thing. And then later, when Romeo says like cozy, when Buck tells Dare where his pod is, he says lucky in response to Dare sitting next to Buck. So in the Chinese dub of ODST, Romeo's kind of he's kind of pervy in that, based on his translations, at least in the intro cutscene. He's a little better later on, but yeah, just a very odd way they made him in that translation. Alright, so for this last one, this one is the multiplayer announcer when he says Slayer.
杀戮之王。
So this one doesn't actually apply to just Halo 4. It applies to every Halo game with multiplayer. But I did cover this briefly in a previous video, but I thought it was a pretty cool way to translate Slayer, so I figured I'd cover it in this again. But in Chinese, there is a Chinese word for Slayer, but that's not what they use for this. So instead of saying Slayer, the multiplayer announcer is literally saying King of the Killers for the game type, which I think is a really cool name, like a cool alternative name to Slayer. King of the Killers. It makes sense, obviously, because when you're doing Slayer, the person first place to kill the most people, so they are the king of all the people that we're killing. But yeah, it's a really cool way to translate it. But yeah, so that wraps it up for this video. I'm sure there are probably other things I missed. I'm not like a linguistic expert or expert translator, but I do want to thank all the people that helped me translate this. It was very helpful. But yeah, so hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, make sure to leave a like and leave your thoughts in the comments. If you want to see more stuff like this, or if there's anything you want me to check out, or if I missed any interesting translations in here and there, or if other languages that you know of have other controversial or interesting translations, let me know in the comments, and I'll do my best to look into it. But other than that, make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you guys next time. Bye, guys.